Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. Today we're going to look at the best champions for solo queue right now in 9.19 if all you really care about is climbing. As always, this is aimed more at people trying to get to diamond rather than going higher, but it still applies up there as well. We're going to have a top 8, so kind of a top tier, and then 4 more as well. The guides for those will be in the video itself, and a list of them will be in the description. So any character to start with was actually the top tier hasn't changed at all. So it's Jinx, Ashe, Lucian, Kai'Sa, Xayah, Jhin, Caitlyn, and Vayne. The order's a little bit different, but we're going to start with the same one. I honestly think Caitlyn has the potential to be the best AD right now, landing more traps and the headshot cancels you can do now as well. That kind of like elevates her to the first place. If you want to learn to do that, I would honestly say go look up XFSN Saber. He's got some really good videos on how to headshot cancel and stuff. But even if you can't do that, you're still going to be really good. You've still got high range, you're very safe, you're easy to play like in the lane phase because you can't really get bullied. You can harass from range with your auto attacks, you can combo well, you can follow up the support. So even if you're not the strongest AD in lane, it doesn't really matter. With Caitlyn, you're going to be able to take some plays, push, and then later you can carry really hard once you got to your 3 items. Our second spot is a bit different. Ashe is such a better champion now early to mid game because of the buff she had. So the extra slow starting a little bit higher and the auto attack reset on her Q. Honestly, she is so insanely strong actually. She's already got like good utility parts to her, but now her damage is better with lethal tempo, which gets your Q online quicker and can kind of abuse that reset part of the Q. Even though we think of Ashe as pretty passive, she's actually able to bully lane really well with her range advantage. She sets up plays with the slow as well, which is better now, or the arrow, and there are actually 2 really good builds. So either way you want to play her, spam your W out, go Essence Reaver and stack cooldown reduction, or more auto base with the blade. Third spot could be a lot of champions like Lucian's good, Xayah, Kai'Sa, but I'm going to put Jinx here just below Diamond especially. Like she's still really strong for general solo queue. It's the easiest to really win a game with if you're ahead already because you can just right click with all of that damage. If you get this one reset, which you're probably going to if you're ahead, what you should do, at least you probably won the fight after that. And it's not too difficult because you're getting more gold from farming with your runins and then you're bringing AoE crits to the fight. This is kind of the point of her at the moment and why she's been so strong for so long. Like if you win your lane phase, it's just easier to play easier to win than any other AD. You're going to get more towers than others, you get more gold, more kills easier. Like you don't have to play as well to get this stuff. Last up, we're going to look at our honorable mention, and I think Vayne is a lot better right now. So if you can get to 3 items, that is the real point. Like, it doesn't really matter if you have the best lane phase, you just have to get your 3. It's hard to put her in the top 3 because she is not going to be the best against high range bullies at like 1 to 3 like Caitlyn and Ashe and stuff. But against anything else, she can survive and then just pop off as long as the game doesn't end too fast. She did get a little buff to her ultimate damage, which is kind of nice. I don't think it had much effect. It's only a little boost. She's already really strong late game, and that is why you'd pick her over any other AD. The outplay potential 1v1 in late game. So next up, we're going to go into our mid laners, and our top tier has changed a little bit. So Orianna, Twisted Fate, Zed, and Katarina have kind of entered in here with Ahri, Ekko, Fizz, and Kassadin from last time. I do think Ahri is kind of back on top again for solo queue at least, because you can run either the Assassin or the Glacial playstyle. Glacial is a little bit better, especially in career. It's the build they use a lot, basically to just control team fights and win through picks and catching people alone, because once you have that slow, they can't really dodge the charm. Either one you want to go for, it's going to be fine. Like you're ultra safe, you do really well into most matchups right now, whether it is assassin or mages. You just have to kind of watch out most for the 1 to 2 item power spike, where a charm is basically a one shot. That's when Ahri really takes over the game. Our second spot is a bit different again. So Orianna is actually quite good. She's definitely meta. This is what really happens when you decide to give her 50 more base damage on her ultimate and use 10% more of her AP as well. She is a very strong mage. You can have a pretty okay lane phase. She's very safe anyway. She can bully pretty hard. She's such a good team fighter though, with a huge ultimate and the speed and the shields, and that's really why you'd pick her. That kind of phase, team fighting, obviously with the ultimate, has got a really big boost. And remember, this is 50 more base damage per person and 10% more AP per person. Ekko is nothing like that though. If he gets out of control, it's basically lights out in a game because he will kill you during that stun duration that was buffed, and there's very little counterplay except staying massively away or buying a QSS. He's such a good mid laner for roaming and for diving, and this is where I've seen him do best. He comes bot lane most of the time with ultimate, dive, stuns, ults backed out afterwards, so he doesn't die, but the enemy bot lane does. I think he's just like so highly mobile. He has really big AoE crowd control now. He's good at picking people on the sides, good at team fighting, and I definitely think he's one of the strongest mid picks. Last up to mention, Twisted Fate is is better now. He was buffed to give double the attack speed rank 1 and 10 more base damage on his E. So in any easier matchup, he can now bully harder with the auto attacks and he should be winning a bit more. AP especially is doing much better. So this is your Rod of Ages into Lich Bane kind of build. It gives you a lot of upfront burst damage and you absolutely melt through towers. The reason you'll pick him though, other stuff is obviously the roaming, right? It's insane. It's very hard to match it and you can honestly take over solo queue games by itself that way, especially if people don't expect it or play around it and then go into pretty much high damage gold cards or split push. Next up, we're going to look at our junglers. So our top tier is a little different. Zac, Evelynn, and Ekko are going to be in here, but we have Mundo, Kha'zix, Jarvan, Hecarim, and Elise from last time. So number one, I honestly think Ekko is here. I wouldn't normally talk about it, but he's just so good right now, especially with Dark Harvest, which is something we've seen a lot of career do and now moving into other regions. The extra stun duration has meant that he takes less damage in the jungle. It's up to 2.25 seconds now. So when you're farming, you don't take too much. And that is one of the biggest issues that mages have when they're trying to farm. Plus his ganks are now better as well if it lands. This pick is decent throughout the game, but if you can get to your Lich Bane, which is normally third, then you are really going to pop off and just take over and burst people. And honestly, he is such a good roaming mid anyway. It kind of makes sense that he works as a jungler. The next spot might seem a little strange, but Zac had a huge buff this patch, giving him more percentage healing every time he ranks up his ultimate. So at level 16, it's almost double what it was before. What that has meant is that he can absorb more damage, he can heal for a lot more as well in fights, and survive for a lot longer in these team fights, especially mid to late game, which gives his team so much more time to do damage at the back and probably win. He does have pretty good ganks anyway. That's such long range when he jumps in. He has the pullback as well. You've got okay damage yourself, and honestly, I think he is top tier at the moment. Stat-wise, he is pretty much the best you can play. A third spot could be first. Honestly, you could juggle these around if you wanted to, but Kha'zix is still really good at the moment as a scaling jungler option. I say this all the time, but he is most deadly at 3+ items. Knowing that is pretty scary because he can still kill you a Dust Blade, which is like 1 or 2, and there isn't really much you can do about it except obviously not getting caught alone, I guess. But if he's fed early, then he will definitely be a problem. There are actually 2 builds you can kind of go for. Well, there are more, but 2 normal ones, 40-30 damage or kind of more like Warrior Bruiser, I guess, as well, like with Black Cleaver and stuff. Even Bruiser can be really hard to play against, not just because of the damage, but the evolved W slow and the utility. It means he can kind of kite fights and actually sort of engage or draw them out. And with Conqueror as well, it makes it really hard to kill him. Last up, I want to mention Evelynn very quickly. She's also a scaling assassin. And I always said this, like, you kind of need 3 items really to go nuts on Evelynn. But I've seen her 100% one-shot people at 1 item before. The fact that she does this from stealth as well, so you have no idea it's coming, is obviously even worse. And the charm as well can be really hard to avoid since it procs off anything. The one downside, and why Kha'zix is kind of like over her, even though they're very similar, is because Evelynn has a weaker early game. That's kind of the biggest downfall. But if you get past that point, then she can snowball harder when people don't really respect the stealth. Let's go into our top lane, and there's a couple of interesting ones that we have here, but Riven and Kayle are the only new entries into our top 8. So we have Pantheon, Jax, Renekton, Darius, Mordekaiser, and Fiora rounding it out. Now, number 1 is definitely going to be Fiora for me at the moment. She had such crazy buffs. I don't think there's any doubt she's the best. Her Q and her E now both work against towers, so she's getting more plates and more gold. The reason that matters is because at her first item, she wins roughly 52% of games after that. At 2 items, it jumps up to 58%, so she really needs that Trinity Force, which is now easier to get. Fiora scales insanely well though, right? She's hyper mobile, very hard to lock down because she's so slippery and moves around, jumps around all the time. She's got really good healing, split push team fights, so having a better early kind of unlocks that late game. For our second spot, I really think Mordekaiser is pretty underrated. Well, he's not played as much as you'd probably expect for how strong he is and how good his win rate is. He is really dog poo early game, and I think that's kind of why. But once you have your Rylai's and your Leandries together, your first 2 items, you're going to pop off and you're going to destroy everyone. Nobody can kite you at that point, which is one of his downsides. You have the claw combo for huge bursts as well, loads of healing with Conqueror, and a massive shield. One of the best kind of like safe picks, I guess, at the moment we have now is Jax, because he is still one of the best late game choices, but he can get kills early. And so for solo queue, he's kind of perfect. I know it sounds kind of weird, but if you just learn to play lane, then you're always going to be strong because you'll always be ahead of the 1v1 and nobody is going to beat you 1v1, especially when they're behind. A lot of this really is just Spear of Shojin being so good on him. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but they probably have to change it at some point because he goes so crazy as soon as he gets it. So many more stuns, so many more leaps, and a lot more damage. Last up is one that I think is literally about to explode out onto the scene right now. So Kayle is so strong, but people haven't really caught onto it just yet. You do suck early game, so I guess some people don't want to play that, but not as hard as before. So if you can get to just 1 item now, you are able to fight back. And that's the most important part about her little update that she had. She doesn't have to wait for level 16. She will be online earlier. She will be more useful, be able to get maybe a few more kills. And then at 3 items, that is when you 1v5 the game. 3 items is honestly not that bad for a hyper scaling champion, and she is so strong at the moment. Last up, we're going to move into our support. So we only have one new one, and that is going to be Blitzcrank. The others here are going to be Nautilus, Leona, Janna, Thresh, Pyke, Morgana, and Rakan. So Blitzcrank became like the best support overnight. He's got an absolutely insane win rate, and that is why loads of people are playing him and loads of people are banning him now as well. It happened because of the longer hook range, right? It's really good anyway, but a lot of people cannot judge the distance anymore, just like me, right? So many times I've like thought I've been okay and just slightly not, and that then gets you killed. When you're behind versus a Blitz as well, it is an absolute nightmare because you can't really recover. He's going to hook you over and over, and so his win rate right now is stupidly high around lane phase and mid game where a hook is a death, and that is the point where like it's really hard to play against him. We have another hooker in our second spot. Nautilus is one of the few actually who is okay against Blitz since he can proc aftershock straight after being hooked and kind of survive that burst. He does a stupid amount of damage himself, way more than any others really. It can easily ruin an AD carry in lane. He does about 70% of their health bar, and then they really only need a little bit of follow-up from your AD to actually finish them off. The problem with Nautilus, though, is that you fall off way harder. You can also snowball out of control, so that is kind of the risk, but for now, it's definitely worth it. And if you prefer rather to have like a better team fight, I guess, and an okay lane steal, then Leona is probably the better version. I think it's really important to mention Morgana right now because this is an obvious counter to Blitzcrank and other crowd control in general, like a lot of other CC heavy engage lanes like Leona and Nautilus that we have at the moment. This is actually the reason that she's banned a lot in games right now, because you can quite easily fight them after blocking their engage, turn it around, and a lot of AD carries right now have follow-up to binds as well, like Caitlyn or Jinx that will net you kills after. There isn't really too much to say about Morgana at the moment. It is pretty straightforward. You're a counter to the meta, you're decent in the lane phase, and Black Shield is pretty OP. That's going to wrap it up for me. Those are going to be the top tier picks for 9.19 for every single role. If all you really care about is climbing. I wasn't actually going to release today because it's my birthday, but I thought, why not? I'll get this out anyway. So hopefully it does help. I'll probably be streaming right now as well. A bit of TFT, maybe some solo queue. If you want to come and say hello, there'll be a link down below. But that's all for now. So thank you for watching until the very end. And for now, I will leave you with Robots.